4 kills for BDK Kid. Will he get the 5th one?
But a big shatter from Juko High takes
Big play from O again, putting the Jack Invictus wins the match.
Massive blossom from Klaus getting into the back
An
line.
impressive job there by Infuse Gaming. Really
Full hold for Careless Panda.
Alt F4 puts the close.
Crimson picked up a 3rd. Can he get a 4th?
First one will be rocking with the death blows. Pick up 1.
And now we see the Shadow Step of Triage coming down with the death block.
Got 3 on the point now, and inside.
Holy Jalapeno just rolled straight.
Using Maxis on the soldier.
That's Karma's gonna take up this victory.
Anton Flock picks up 3.
There will be illusion.
Arise, finds 3 in the fight against
A full 6K for Shamanzi.
Finding 4 with the death blossom.
And now you better back down, cause I'm coming for you. Better back down, cause I'm coming for you. Better back down, cause I'm coming for you. Better back down, cause I'm coming for you.
Hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome to your Overwatch Tranquility Discord Finals. Tonight we have an incredible match lined up. We've got the #1 seed Commit, who have been undefeated and look absolutely unstoppable all season, versus Eclipse, the #6 seed, coming up. The underdog story of the season here for Tranquility. Tonight your casters will be me, Door, and we have Booth with us. Booth, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Incredibly excited for this game to come through. We had the matchup pretty early on in the season with these two, Commit taking that first victory, but this is a whole different Eclipse team here now. And I mean, maybe they're the ones that can help take down Commit. Commit's been unstoppable this season. I mean, only losing 2 maps the whole entire season. The winners of the regular season not losing any games. Maybe today's the day Eclipse can do it. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, if there's ever been a question mark in this league or in this community, it's been Eclipse. They've been the big one. They've come in and they've knocked out absolutely everybody in their path. One last ride, Meteors, it does not matter. These guys have it in them to do it. And the question is, can they beat the biggest challenge of all here in Commit? But to break it down for us, we also have Light Rose and our resident Twitter expert Specs with us on the desk. How you guys doing?
I mean, I'm feeling really good. Hoping we can get something like the Harmony finals that recently happened.
Yeah, obviously it's something to shoot for here. I'd love to see a very competitive match between these two teams. Definitely at the top of the game towards the end of the season, and 2 deserving finalists at this point.
Now we do have a little bit of stuff lined up for you guys. But to break down the rosters, of course, is there anything notable that you two want to point out? Of course, the roster of Eclipse is that 6-man specialty that we've been seeing them run. No subs needed. They seem to be able to do it all on their own through some mean or another. And the roster here for Commit, of course, notably one of the strongest, if not the strongest, of all individual players for Tranquility, lining up with Ice, Koro, Sir Andy, Shiro, and all those all-stars that are on Commit. It's going to be a tough one here for Eclipse, but do you guys want to go ahead and break down these rosters for us?
Specs, you want to take this one?
Yeah. I'll start with the Eclipse boys here, considering they're the #6 seed coming into it. Or Commit, sorry. So the Commit squad from top to bottom is just stacked. Notably, I think their tanks are they're their standouts. Sir Andy, Marv, and XS are just ridiculous players. You know, a good front line is going to transition into, you know, excellent team play at the end of the day. And with Sir Andy on the Sigma, and then the various main tanks, and Marf on Orisa, and then the rest of the off tanks, they have a really solid core there that can really flex into whatever they need. To me, that's the standout of this roster. What's scary about it is that their DPS is another. You put it on any other roster, and it's the best line, you know, on any team. Shiro is known for his Reaper play at this point. Very aggro, very aggressive, but that also can be shut down if Eclipse manages to handle that correctly. And then when it comes to the supports, you know, Commit's just, again, they have 4 very good support players with Rady Body, Honey Badger, Ice, and Koro that can just flex into whatever they need. Having 4 players in a specific role is going to create a lot of hero overlap, and they're going to be successful at that. You know, when it really comes down to it, at the end of the day, they're the number 1 seed for a reason. Commit is just absolutely incredible, and interested to see how this turns out tonight.
All right, now that we've got Commit out of the way, Light Rose, you want to go ahead and break down Eclipse's roster for us, a 6-man team that's been making their run all throughout Discord.
And force Eclipse to maybe want to hold on to an ultimate or two. But now, because they knew it was one final fight, because of the time they were able to burn by getting that kill.
But Cryptic is known for his rhymes, infamous and non-infamous, however that works. Ups and downs, and he's a reason why they're here in the first place. Can't look over Bray as well, one of the off tanks of Eclipse. He's there right back in Cryptic up. Obviously, we all kind of know that Cryptic can get himself in a sticky situation, and having that off tank can get you out of there. And going on to the supports, Bubbers and 9Volt. Bubbers is once again
doing a good job when they are in control of the point and maintaining it. But once they're in a situation where they're having to turn tables and they're having to come back and take control of the point when the opposing team have their heels dug in, it's not going well for them so far.
The roster's very well rounded.
They want to hold on to an ultimate or two, but now because they knew it was one final fight, because of the time they were able to burn by getting that kill,
which are Toro and your Rady Body. These two are also denounce them. Obviously, they're here for a reason. Eclipse is here for a reason. The supports obviously helping them, no doubt. And then lastly, the DPS, you've got Rocket and Shoni Red. Rocket being that all-star, being that really, really good Reaper, which Reaper being in the meta coming back, it'll be really helpful.
Now that we've broken down the rosters, is there anything notable in the team advantages? I know, of course, Commit has some of the best team play in the league, but Eclipse has shown some sparks of greatness of their own, notably in their ultimate economy. Is there anything you want to break down for Commit for us, Specs?
Yeah. So one thing I did kind of touch on is Exos and how good of a player he is for their tank line for Commit, but he's actually not going to be here tonight. So it's just Sir Andy and my Big Marf. To me, these two have incredible synergy and really know what they're doing. I think the tank line in general is going to be where this match is won or lost tonight, and I'm very impressed with what Commit have here.
All right, and on the same side of the coin, Eclipse coming in with all sorts of stuff on their own. Light Rose, anything you want to break down there?
The thing about Eclipse has to play at their absolute best. If they falter in one role, Commit is just going to roll over them because they overshadow them with team play. You have that off support down, they're going to capitalize on that. Your main tank is faltering, they're going to capitalize on that. You have to play at your absolute best if you're Eclipse tonight.
Yeah, coming up against the biggest roster in the league is certainly going to be a tough one. But now that we've discussed all this, I want to get a few predictions and maybe break it down how you think it might happen. We'll go ahead and start with you, Specs. Where do you think this one's going?
As much as I would love for this to be a back and forth 8-map barn burner, I think it really comes down to just the tank and the support play. I'm very impressed with what Commit have here, and especially playing against them in the semifinals, I guess that was. They're just an incredible team. I definitely have Commit winning this one.
All right. And Light Rose, what's your prediction here?
I'm scared that if things don't go how all we think, that we're all going to end up in some sort of montage, but I'm going to have to go Commit as well. The pure skill and teamwork is just crazy.
All right. One more. Let's get it from Booth. Booth, where do you think this is going?
Yeah, as much as I also want to say Eclipse would look good here, you can't really go against Commit. I mean, they've just been dominant all season. I gotta say it's with a Commit here as well.
All right, I'll go ahead and break it out myself. I think Eclipse stand a chance here. They've proven us wrong every match coming up to this, and Eclipse finally have their 6th man in the roster. As we look to get into this one, I'll give them a chance. I think Eclipse stand a chance of making this one a real slugfest of a match, bringing us to 7 maps. And now that we're still not quite in, but a few things to note here. Eclipse, since they've managed to pick up their current roster, have had an absolutely incredible run, the real Cinderella story. And we have had more than one person say they go down to One Last Ride or Meteors on their way up here. But they've proven us wrong time and time again. I think one of the most interesting things has been their map scores though. They haven't really had any 7-map series. And so I think that raises a big question of whether or not they can go the distance if this series does go long. And the same thing goes to Commit. And so I'd like to ask the question, what do you guys think happens if it does end up going late? Which team do you think has the longevity advantage?
You know, for me at least, I think it comes down to who has the deeper roster. Traditionally, I'm more of a guy that believes that a smaller roster is better. But you know, going on your 7th or 8th map, especially as a main support player or a main tank player, where you're making calls, where you're trying to keep the game, the tunnel vision there, it's very hard to do. And I think with Commit having additional players, especially in the main support role or flex support role, and at that point too, they're just going to be able to keep their head in the game a little bit better.
Yeah, I think one of the things you mentioned, the support role here, and I think that might just be one of the strongest things that Eclipse does have going for them. Bubbers has been incredible all season long, and 9Volt, I was looking into a few of his stats from the last game. This man doesn't die. He'll be there for his team entire fights. His team will go down. Whether or not they win the fight, he manages to get out alive, and it's really impressed me. It hasn't really been to the detriment of his team. He's managed to provide plenty of support during the fights in these important moments. However, he just doesn't provide much ultimate charge to the enemy team, and that might just be what they need. It's those little advantages player-wise that are going to take Eclipse and give them a real shot at winning this one. What do you guys think?
I like 9Volt getting out. Ult charge is a really big thing, staggering. The Eclipse really haven't... I mean, they faced Commit once before, but going up against Commit again, I honestly expect Commit to really capitalize on those said 9Volt staying alive. And it's something that really you can't afford to happen. Because, like I said before, if you have a crack in the system, Commit's going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and Eclipse, of course, a lot of their roster really relies on popping off. Rocket, of everybody here, I think might just be the most consistent person in showing up. Maybe him and Cryptic Force, of course, the 2 all-stars that were chosen for Eclipse here. And I think they're going to show up, but the big question marks here, I think, are going to be the rest of their roster. And Shoni Red might just have to be the big question mark for me. It took him in his last series against Meteors. It took him around 3 maps before he was able to turn on, and I just think that's not an option against a team like Commit, who's really going to show up and give it to you for every map that you play, especially with the depth of their roster and their ability to sub out depending on the map and give their team that extra longevity that Specs was talking about. But at the same time, they've shown up every other match right when they needed to. So what kind of odds do you give them of having their players show up like they need to and not just playing a standard game of Overwatch for them?
To me, it's hard. To really be to have this match go far and to really compete with Commit, everything just needs to work from the top to the bottom. And I think it comes down to whoever knows the meta better too. There's not a massive shift in the meta at this point. It's more of a subtle shift, with some things changing and some hero styles kind of changing as well. But who really has that grasp on the meta at this point is going to be super important.
Yeah, all right, and it looks like one player here from Eclipse is having just a little bit of trouble here getting into the match. He's waiting on just one thing. So I think we're going to have to go to a short break. Probably shouldn't be more than 5 minutes, so stick around. But we'll be right back with you once Eclipse and Commit are ready for this finals match. All right, we're back in, and we finally got the last member of Eclipse loaded into the lobby. So we're missing a couple things, but it looks like Eclipse and Commit are both ready to load into it. Our first map will be Nepal. So this means a few things, but I think one of the biggest things here might just be some of the support play, which has been notably important here. And so these support labs are going to have a fantastic opportunity to shine. One last prediction for this map. What do you guys got?
I'm gonna have to say Commit 4-0. Like, to be real, Commit 4-0.
This map specifically, yeah, Commit take this 2-0. Their Nepal strats are fantastic. Next level. Would be surprised if Eclipse can break this.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go 2-0 and Commit here as well. We've been talking about supports a lot here, Dor, but I don't think anyone's even mentioned Ice, MVP of the community, support here on the side of Commit. Not in on this map for them, of course. They have their other two healers in at the moment, but still something we have to mention on the side of Commit.
And with this new meta, we get to see new lineups. We see Rocket signing up on his signature Tracer, getting into the match, and Shoney Red on a Mei, which is notably important here on Village. But other than that, we're going to see a little bit of a new support comp that's been coming out, and that'll be the Baptiste along with the Zenyatta has been running a lot here on this new patch. Meanwhile, Rady Body on a Lucio along with the Baptiste going to be running something a little bit different, it seems. Shiro just going for a little teleporter strat. What do you think these team lineups mean for us, Booth?
Well, we don't see Moira on either side, which I'm kind of excited about.
Thank God.
Yeah, I know it's getting a little bit boring. We do see the Baptiste. Baptiste is going to be massive here. Just those windows are so powerful now, and it's just going to be a necessity for both teams. So I'm excited to see that, but I'm also interested to see what's going to happen here. We have Big Marf over on the Reinhardt compared to Cryptic Force over on not the Reinhardt.
Oh, a ton of pressure coming in from the Mei, but the walls from both sides means Bray gets his fortified forced back behind this wall. The Zenyatta Discord, though, is going to be offering up so much damage, but it will be Commit getting first control here on the point. Rocket, though, pressuring down Axiom, gets the first kill of the day. taking over the point, though, will be commit. They turn it blue, waiting for that ice wall to go down. The invulnerability field keeping him alive for just a little bit longer. Might be holding up his shield for as long as he can. Biggest shield in the game right now. Oh, but third is the amplification matrix used, but the Maywall to keep commit off the point right now. The Maywall is just about to go down. Rocket dishing in the damage, and it's Eclipse coming up big. The first fight, the first point tick, turning over the way of the red side.
Very good job there from Eclipse. They did invest the window over on the side of commit, probably hoping for a little bit more than 17% on the ult charge. It's going to be hard for them to retake here. Maybe Marth have to look for a big shatter here. We have ultimates rotating around, though, over on the side of Eclipse. Watch for their window here. That can be a lot of damage if they're able to get commit pushing in early. So they need to really mitigate how much shield damage they can take early on.
I mean, just look at these ultimate charges here for Eclipse. 77, 86, 62. And the amplification matrix used. First kill going down to Honey Badger, though. It will be the way of commit. Taking out Bray, though, will be Honey Badger. And oh, Rocket huge! 1, 2, 3 kills with the Death Blossom. Might get more trading back on a Cryptic Force, but Rocket looking to do it all on his own action. Last man left alive here for commit on the point. He'll be going down too. Rocket gifts his team another team fight.
Yeah, Rocket coming in massive there. Marth making a massive shatter earlier in that fight, but it wasn't enough for the side of commit to really push through there. But now they have a Blizzard, they're gonna have a Transcendence, they're gonna have a Lift, looking pretty good for them, going up to 50% here as well. Commit need to take this fight here pretty early, because if not, ultimates are really gonna start rolling around on the side of Eclipse, and they can maybe get a hold.
We talked about Eclipse and their ultimate advantage before, and here it is. Transcendence, Gravitic Flux, and both Blizzards going down first on the point. Marth trying to eat one of them, but the sound barrier will be needed out from commit here to try and keep him alive. But Shonir finds the first kill onto Shiro, not gonna be letting that Blizzard do any work. Pulse pulling in from both sides of the amplification matrix from commit, trying to get more, but Rocket is fragging out here on this Reaper, doing everything he can to turn this game and silence the haters. My Big Marth manages to pick him off. Finally, though, Cryptic Force takes out Axiom and My Big Marth to close out the team fight. Another one 81% taking down on the point. It's looking rough here for commit.
Looking very rough. They do have the Supercharger, and they're going to have the Reaper ultimate here as well, along with the window. That's a lot of damage for the side of Eclipse to pump through there. Maybe a little late on the side of the window from Honey Badger in that fight. They really would like to have that here, pushing in with 95% now.
Axiom and Rocket will both have their Death Blossoms up, and Axiom's the first man, and he goes down to Rocket immediately. The invulnerability field, though, is up here for commit. Both teams using it, but the kill's going up red, and Rocket looks to close it out himself, but it'll be Bubbers and Cryptic Force getting the final kills. Might be Marth just trying to touch the point with everything he can. Manages to take into overtime, but he'll inevitably be going down, and nobody's spawning in time. First point goes over to Eclipse.
Goes over to Eclipse. Very much so. They looked insanely strong on that point. The only reason they got any ticks on the side of commit was that they had a really good opening wall in that first fight, which gave them the ability to cap point without much presence from Eclipse. But after that, Eclipse basically rolled through right away. Even one fights where they didn't seem to have the ultimate advantage and then just held 100% there. Definitely surprising from what we had predicted early on.
So Specs proving once again that everything he says about Eclipse will inevitably be proven wrong. Stopping the 2-0. They'll be picking up the first map, but the second map here will be Sanctum. We saw some incredible Lucio play here in the semifinals of Eclipse's game, I believe, as well as in the Harmony finals, and I can't wait to see what we get to see here. But 9Volt rolling back in on the Zenyatta. He put in work last round. Let's see what he can do here on Sanctum.
Yeah, no Lucios on either side opening up. We do see double sniper on the side of commit. Honey Badger over there on the Mercy. That's going to be really good for them to get some damage boost in, especially if they can get good angles before Eclipse can come in. And Eclipse kind of stuck in spawn. It looks like Bubbers was AFK, so going to be a lot of positional advantage here for commit. Those double snipers are going to be set up and have a lot of space to shoot in on the side of commit. Find Eclipse before they get to push in the point.
Commit didn't really realize in time enough, though, to gain advantage from it. The Hawk picks up Bright and Cryptic Force, not going to be making anything of it. 9Volt, but the wall laying in, Sir Andy's locked on point. He'll be going down first. Cryptic Force making quick work of him, and the double shield set up in the corner here. It's going to be a tough tick for commit, as it looks like they're not going to try and contest here. Just going to try and roll in some shots with their snipers.
Yeah, great wall there from Shoney. Blocking Sir Andy off on the point there, and they did a really good job not investing too much there late into the fight. Wait for their main tank to respawn, not waste any abilities, and go back in here. I like that idea. We do see Honey Badger going over to the Ana now, off of the Mercy, and now Shiro going over to the Mei. So going off of the Widowmaker. I do like the pick going off the Widowmaker there. I still think double shield's really strong against negating a lot of what Widowmaker can do.
All right, double shield's just starting to push on the point. A whole new comp and a whole new world ready here for commit. They're slowly pushing. Sir Andy's Fortify will be forced out early. The wall first from Shiro, though, doesn't quite manage to get enough value, as all of Eclipse will be managing to stay alive, but their invulnerability field will go down. Shiro's just waiting, looking for his next wall, but the amplification matrix is looking to be huge, and the massive purple here. coming out from Honey Badger, but it's not enough to take out anybody. Eclipse and Rocket commits the Dragon. It's going to land here onto 3 members of Commit, but the invulnerability field will keep him alive just a little bit longer. Cryptic Force goes down, and Shiro as well. But the first Gravitic Flux will be dropped. Axiom and My Big Mark fragging out here. It looks like Eclipse are going to Commit are going to manage to take this point over in their favor.
Yeah, great Dragon there on the side of Axiom. Really split the point up for them coming into that last fight. Split the supports up. I think it even ended up taking down one of the supports on Eclipse. Got a lot more value than Rocket's Dragon there. We do see Mark now going over to the Wrecking Ball off of the Sigma, so no more double shield for them, but they are getting close to Supercharger here from Sir Andy as well, and getting close also to the Nano Boost. You got to assume that's going on to someone here with high damage. And if they can get a Mail off here to win this point for them, that'd be pretty strong for them. They do have the Transcendence, though, from 9V on the side of Eclipse to maybe counter that.
I think there's a lot of pressure on 9V here against this Sniper, but My Big Mark comes up huge and finds 2 kills here on the Wrecking Ball. Gonna be closing that fight out real quick. 31%, not quite over for Eclipse, but I'm sure that one didn't feel too good.
No, it didn't. You got to be checking, you got to be pushing tab there to kind of see the hero switches. I don't know if they knew Marf went over to the Wrecking Ball. Already up to 77% on the now. No ults needed for that fight, and look at the advantage they're going to have going in here now. They do have the Supercharger, and Cryptic's getting very close here to the Gravitic Flux as well, along with the window. We see Rocket now over on the Reaper off of the Hanzo, but maybe still ultimates left on the side of Commit. You got to like their chances here, especially with Marf being able to hold back a lot of positioning. You see Eclipse has to take a different route to come to point now. If they went that normal way, he's just going to boop him right off again.
I like what Eclipse are going for. If they can grind this fight out, they will gain an ultimate advantage. They are coming up on 4, but Rocket goes down to Hanzo Arrow, and the Blizzard used immediately inside. The Transcendence to try and counter will be keeping most of Eclipse alive here. Nobody going down quite yet, but the mines in the small room almost certainly spell disaster here as My Big Mark takes out the rest of Eclipse.
Yeah, good job from them. They did invest 3 ults into that fight, but they're also going to have 3 ults waiting for him here as well. They have the Nano Boost, they do have the window, and they're going to have the Dragon Strike here as well. An early Dragon to kind of split point would be very big for them. We do have a couple ults here on the side of Eclipse, so they need to win this fight early. Getting up to 92% now, it's going to be almost pretty tough for them here to touch. They got to go straight to point.
Yeah, with no Lucios in the game, it's going to be up to them to get a quick touch. 98% taking down the point. Shiny Red will be the man to touch. Oh, just barely. The Bongo and Amplification Matrix both used, but the Dragon sent out to cut the team in half. The Blizzard is used here from Eclipse, but Shiro will be taking out Rocket's first man to go down. Cryptic Force looking to come up big with the Gravitic Flux, and he does manage to pick up 2 members here. Starting to get knocked down to half health. Shiny Red barely alive on this point. Not going to be going down, but it will be Cryptic Force going down. Instead, Eclipse now set up at the corner of the point up against Sir Andy. The last man left alive here for Commit. In his own side of the point, trying to get in the damage will be Axiom and Honey Badger doing what they can, and Axiom comes up with 2. Sir Andy not dead on the point yet. How on earth is this man still alive? He's holding it down for his team. Cryptic Force just managed to get back on the ball. My Big Monster back alone. 3 members here alive, 4 Eclipse on the point. They do have the damage to lay it in. My Big Monster kept alive by the invulnerability, but will be going down immediately. Managed to take out Shony Red that may no longer left alive here to hold on to the point. Cryptic Force trying to stay alive as best he can. The Soldier raining in the damage, but it's not going to be enough. Gray is finally back on this point, establishing himself here for Eclipse. My Big Monster is not going down on this Wrecking Ball, and that's going to be super important here as the rest of his team just now starts to roll in, and we're rolling in. We finally have a 4v4 on point, but Bubbers and Bray picking off 2 members of Commit. Axiom and Sir Andy just trying to stay alive as best they can on point, trying to get this to tick down a little bit longer. They can buy some more time, but it finally ticks over the way of Eclipse.
Wow, take a deep breath, man. Drink some water. So that was a heck of a stall there at the end. Rocket went over to the Soldier and seemed to just be there at the perfect time, got that advantage over on the left side of the map, and their stall here is to seem to kind of get the point first. But now they're not really going to have any ultimates to counter here with this. Maybe if they get a Visor if you're soon. Cryptic really needs to get the mines up early on, which he's already getting very close here as well. So that's going to be very big for them here on the recontest. But they do have the Supercharger from Sir Andy with the Nano Boost here as well, and they should just go right in with this early on.
This is last fight territory, no matter how you put it. Might be rough for the pick, but he doesn't manage to find 9V. Instead, it will be Shiro taking out Rocky here on the high ground. It's dropping in, and the May wall is huge. It locks Bubbers in this small room. Trying to get out Shony Red. It's slept in the corner of the point, but Bray takes out My Big Mark. Shiro trading right back on the Bubbers. Randy taking out 9V. That's the supports down here for Eclipse, and Cryptic Force getting frozen. Almost certainly spells disaster. The tanks just barely here trying to hold on. For Eclipse, the Soldier from Rocket putting in work in the corner, but Ray's body taking out Shony Red. The DPS is gone, and Eclipse holding on for dear life here on this next point. The push finds Honey Badger, but it's not enough to take him off the point. My Big Mark swings in, and the Visor used from Rocket will be taking out Axiom next. He needs to touch point. My Big Mark trying to hold on as long as he can, but Eclipse hold on, and then takes over. 2-0 Eclipse take map 1.
Wow, fantastic job from Eclipse. That last stall there going into that last fight was insane for them. And I've always said, they've always come into a lot of these fights not having the ultimate advantage, but still end up winning. And they're at the end proving that yet again. Looking pretty dominant there in Control. I don't think any of us expected that to come out of Eclipse here on Control here in Nepal.
Nice little play of the game too. My Big Marv finding plenty of value on his own, but Commit, I think maybe the one team that I've seen all season look better than, or Eclipse have looked better than Commit team-wise. Their team play has been fantastic. Their pushes have been so well executed, and Rocket has been taking fantastic positions, especially on that soldier there at the end. He was constantly on some sort of flank or finding some sort of wide angle that was allowing them to take out those tanks and really put in the damage that they needed. But honestly, one of the biggest surprises that I've seen, and a real statement of an opener here for Eclipse. And to break it down, I'll be throwing it to our desk. Light Rose, Specs, what you got for us?
Yeah, absolutely incredible result there for Eclipse. For me, it came down to the DPS play here. Shoney Red, he was a big question mark we had, especially coming into this meta, knowing that most likely there's going to be some Reaper, there's going to be some Mei, going to be some Hanzo. Shoney Red's walls on the first point village were absolutely incredible. The walls he was able to get to bait out the tanks, especially Sir Andy there, really turned the fight and won that first point, and giving Eclipse a huge advantage there.
We saw on Commit side, we saw Axiom really pop off, but it really wasn't enough to overtake Eclipse. Obviously, we saw him on the Hanzo, but Shiro kind of needs to step it up a little bit. The supports are doing their best to keep everybody up, but right now, Commit, we're really not seeing what we've seen so far. And right now, it just be that, you know, they haven't got accustomed, maybe a little bit overconfident. But it'll be interesting to see if we come onto this next map, whether they wake up or let Eclipse do what Commit's done all season.
Now, the next map we're loading into will be Hanamura. This was the pick, I believe, of Commit, because it is loser's pick. But they did sub in Ice, the season MVP. What do you guys think this means while we still have you on the desk here for Commit?
To me, it's a real vocal leader. Obviously the captain of the team at this point. Very, very well known throughout the community for not only his Zenyatta play, which is huge in this meta, but definitely the leadership qualities that he brings. After losing a map that I don't think they were expected to, that could be huge here.
They definitely need somebody to really kind of shake them by the shoulders, get everybody ready for this map.
All right, getting in. We did mention it will be Hanamura. We see Shoney Red on Sombra, which he may or may not be staying on. Cryptic Force locking in the Winston. This may be a bit of a meme comp here from Eclipse. I know Cryptic Force was saying something about a Winston on Twitter that may be a little bit questionable. But I do like this Ice and Koro on that Zenyatta Baptiste that we saw Eclipse use against them to such great effect. Booth, is there anything you want to mention here about these compositions?
You know, it makes me really sad as a Diva main that Dive's considered like a meme comp now. Like I just had so much fun playing that. Maybe we're gonna see Shoney scouting here on the Sombra. That's why they're sticking on the Dive early on. See what they have. Maybe make some switches based off of that, giving us a little bit of hope early on. Yeah, you see Shoney's just gonna scout through, call the comps here, go back to spawn, and see their switches coming through. You see Shoney though going over to the Doomfist. The rest of it looks like it's sticking with what we had. So we do see the Lucio. I think for the first time tonight. No, we actually saw it in the first point in Nepal. But Lucio Baptiste. Which interesting tank composition, but pretty useful here in first point Hanamura.
The dive early comes in, just giving him a little bit of a positional advantage. They do manage to get the high ground, but 9-Volt goes down early. That's not what you want if you're Eclipse here. Brado swinging in, takes out Ice. Zenyatta now down, trading back in again. Shoney Red takes out Koro, but that's the supports down here for Commit. That's almost certainly spells disaster. My Big One looks to be the next target here of the dive, and swinging in Cryptic Force and Gray running this dive in. Dive's not a meme comp. They say they heard you, Booth.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy someone's at least listening. You know, after all this time, I thought I was just talking to myself. But that first massive picks there onto the supports of Commit, there's no way to get around that then. I mean, you can't win on Hanamura A with not both your supports there. So we see Marf now going over to the Roadhog, kind of neglected in this meta a little bit, but they're expecting the dive to stick around. But you see basically full swaps coming out on the side of Eclipse. I like that, kind of going over to a bit more of what you'd expect. You see the Zen and the Baptiste still. They are going to have the Bap ult. Maybe trying to get a first point take here early on. Shiro is going to have the Dragon, and then you see the switches coming back over on the side of Commit as well. They're checking tab. They know what they're doing. But I do like the comp switch of them. Hard to win on second point and dive here.
Yeah, I like what we're seeing here out of Eclipse, and they will be using their vulnerability to try and get this to this point, but a fantastic wall coming out of Axiom almost manages to hold on to the high ground for him, and nobody from Eclipse going down means they get to hold on to this high ground a little bit longer, and it'll be Commit cowering in the back corner here for just a while.
Yeah, watch Shiro though in the back. It's a duel between him and Rocket, trying to get the first pick here. But I like Eclipse pushing forward, not letting them have much advantage. But
Eclipse,
early window though.
Absolutely manhandling Commit out of their positions here, but Shiro takes out Rocket. Can be relieving a little bit of that pressure. The amplification matrix not going to be doing quite as much, but a great wall coming out from Shonira and might spell disaster here for the tanks. Dragon does get committed here from Commit. Shiro taking out Bray and Sarandy. This composition slowly falling apart. Shonira trying to apply some pressure to point, but he's going to be going down just as quickly.
Yeah, they didn't deal with Shiro there in the back line, so that just gave the side of Commit all of their switches to build up all their ultimates, and now they're coming up. They have 4, about to get their 5th here with Ice getting close to the ultimate as well. They should have definitely dealt with Shiro, I think, there. He was just raining in a lot of damage. He made them switch their positioning, and they kind of just stood in one spot at the end of a hallway, which is not where you want to be when somebody has a Dragon Strike. So good job there out of Commit. I like their positioning, forcing Eclipse to play their game, and oh, Shiro, that's a late, very early pick there on Debray, and that's going to stop this push before it even started.
Shiro finding the pick on Debray, and it seems that Eclipse have learned their lesson from the game against Meteors. Of course, that Temple of Anubis match, a tough one to watch as pick after pick rained in onto Eclipse. But I think they've learned their lesson here. They're just going to go ahead and back off and wait for their tank player to dutifully come back, as slowly pushing in is the horse Bray.
Yeah, so now the story here is going to be how many ults is Commit going to use. They still have 3 minutes and 45 seconds to hold here. Oh my goodness. That's really tough to deal with here on the side of Eclipse. You don't even need ultimates on the side of Commit to start winning these fights.
Oh my god, what a fantastic wall coming out from Shonira to keep him from getting inside of that window. It's a nice little play, going to be getting him an advantage, but it's probably not going to be enough as Zenyatta has to walk all the way back home.
Oh no, down again. Shiro, let him come out of spawn, man, please.
I can't watch. I can't watch.
No, that's too bad.
9 volts
really hard. It's really hard to kind of push through, you know, when you're not running Lucio's. Like, oh my goodness, what is Shiro? I think on the side of Eclipse, even though they do have ultimates here from their supports, they need to go over to Lucio or something. They got to get through this quicker, because I mean, what, a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes has ticked away now, while Commit has just been just shooting through them through the windows, and they have all their ultimates. I mean, there's going to be 6 ults pushing into this next fight anyway, unless Eclipse makes a switch here on support, which doesn't look like they're going to. They're going to keep going with this, but I mean, it hasn't worked yet. They might need to switch something up to even get the point.
On the bright side, we've passively charged up 6 ultimates for either side, but Shiro is camping up top here, and he does have this dragon, which could be absolutely devastating, pushing through the choke. The wall lands into the dragon, a combo with them with the Transcendence, trying to keep everybody alive, but Rocket and Shonira both going down. Almost inevitably spells the end of this push. 4 members will not be able to push through main here. Bray backing up as best he can, but the members of Eclipse slowly getting burnt down. Barber's trying to stay alive here behind this rock. Will he manage to get out? No, the Discord on him is going to be just enough. Cryptic Force and Bray running for the hills.
So 1 ultimate's all they needed there. They baited out the Transcendence, and Shiro's already 60% to another Dragon Strike too. And it's just basically like a cooldown for him, it seems, for how much damage he's getting from this top here. 9 volt going over to the Lucio. I do like that switch there. Hope to speed through so that Shiro can't just shoot into your team entirely, because even if he's not getting picks, he's eating through these shields, and then they have to sit and wait for the shields to recharge back up, and that gives them Commit even more chance to get some poke damage in.
Yeah, I'm really not sure about this main push that we're seeing here from Eclipse, but they look to pull someone off the high ground, and Korra will be going down. The Gravitic Flux and Blizzard both committed out of Commit here, and taking down 2 will be My Big Marth. The ultimate from Sigma going to be enough here to close them out that fight, and with just enough ultimates that I'm pretty sure they stand a solid chance at this next one as well.
They do. They saved the damage ultimates over on the side of the window from Koro and the supercharger from Sir Andy, which is good for them, because as soon as they pop one of those early on, they can help build Axiom's Blizzard up quicker. Shiro's back with the Dragon Strike again, but still 5 ults on the side of Eclipse, actually switching over to the Symmetra now, Rocket. Maybe they're going to try to do the push here on the right side of point to come over and minimize some area, but that might not be a good idea, because Koro can just throw up a window from this high ground and give them plenty of damage boost to shoot into their team. And yeah, they are going to go to the other side of point.
Yeah, Commit's pressing tab in the Maywall to try and counter it, allow them to get on the point. At least they've seen the point now, but ultimates everywhere. Amplification Matrix is used from both sides along with the Blizzard. Nobody going down yet, but Shiro taking out Bobbers is going to be one of the supports down. Ice does use his Transcendence, trying to keep his team alive in the invulnerability field. Will be keeping him alive from that Gravitic Flux. A Maywall goes down here from Shonira, but doesn't manage to find any members of Commit here. Nobody going down yet. The fight slowly grinding to a halt. Someone needs to go down eventually, and it will be Shonira and Axiom fragging out, fighting 3 members here of Eclipse, My Big Marth and Shiro. cleaning it up on their own.
Basically every ultimate thrown out there for both teams, and because that was the fight Clips really needed to win to have a clean take here. So we see they have to go over to the stall heroes now just to get back to point. Cryptic Force going over to the Wrecking Ball, Shony Red going over to the Tracer, but Mighty Marf's getting really close to another Gravitic Flux here. They can get a window up also pretty early if this ends up being a stalled out fight. So Commit looking very good to hold this here.
We saw them do it on Sanctum. Will they be able to do it again? The first man to touch will be Cryptic Force. Takes the point into overtime, manages to get his team in position on the point. The Mayball does land onto Ray and Rocket, but the longer the Symmetra lives, the more damage he'll be doing, but it does mean that they're lacking right now. And 9Volt, the first man to go down, Commit buying themselves another advantage. They need to find some kills here. Eclipse, but it won't be to be. Commit finding all the kills, the kill feed turning up blue, and it looks like their second point will not be going in favor of Eclipse.
Great job there for Commit. I mean, I think they took about at least 2 minutes off with the stagger picks. That was a really fast take on first point from Eclipse, and Commit just did a great job just counteracting all of the advantage they got from that. They played their ultimates well. They comboed everything really greatly. I mean, Commit showing again how dominant they were here and coming back to us and letting us know why they were the #1 seed.
Yeah, I think maybe a small victory if you're Eclipse is just getting that 1.5 ticks, but honestly, I think their weakest point has been their defense. Their offense and attack portions have proven fairly strong, but this looks exactly like it did in the Meteors game, where they got the first point almost immediately, one push in, and the second point took them, I believe, almost 5 minutes to get anything on. They didn't get to see it forever because it was just pick after pick going Meteors' way, and that looked exactly the same. Some deja vu coming in there, but hopefully they can break their 2 CP spell. As lining up on defense, they're running with the Bastion strat.
Yeah, sometimes it's a good choice here on defenses. Especially at this level, you do expect a lot of offense to be able to break it. It will take a lot of time off the clock for them, which could be a pretty big win for Eclipse, considering they were able to get more than 1 tick. Just limiting the amount of time it would take for Commit to take first point would be pretty strong. You're probably going to have to see some kind of comp switch maybe coming out on the side of Commit. I do like that Koro is on the Lucio right now. If they're able to get some advantage just pushing through and not going main, the Lucio at least is definitely going to help them with that. It's interesting that you see Rocket over on the Tracer. You normally don't see Tracers as much in bunker comps. You normally just don't see Tracer anyway, but maybe some of these meta changes coming through makes it a little more viable. I know Tracer being one of Rocket's best heroes, so maybe they're just sticking with what they know to be comfortable.
I remember right when we saw the start of this new meta, Rocket's Tracer put on an absolute clinic against their opponents, but getting on the point quick will be Commit. They managed to find the freeze on to Shony Red, and Cryptic Force getting pulled off the high ground. It's going to be up to him to touch this point, but Shony Red does manage to take out Ice, slowly grinding through this roster of Commit, not allowing them to get too much on the point. 1 tick is given over to Randy, left alive in the corner. Axiom is on top of Shony Red. He is managed to be kept alive, and it will be going down. Eclipse hold on to the point, at least for now.
Shiro did a great job opening up that fight for them to push in, but they just didn't seem to group properly once they got to point. Eclipse was able to get a few picks on Rocket. That was really interesting. I've never seen Tracers really being the person to hold the percentage on point there and not let them get ticks, but it did a really good job. I let Cryptic kind of stay up top on the high ground a little bit longer before he fell to point, and that's an interesting strat. That's the first time I've really seen that kind of done, at least in a while, but really good job from them.
Lining up there now, ready. The main wall does go down, but Rocket finds a pick onto Ice again, and another one on the core. Rocket is single-handedly dismantling this Commit roster. Shiro stuck on the low ground. He can't cross without getting shredded by this Bastion. Shony Red's waiting for his opportunity. He takes out Axiom on the flank. Not dead yet, though, is Commit. Shiro just trying to find the freeze onto Shony Red, but Rocket looking to take him down next, but the spawns will be coming in for Commit. If Shiro can just stay alive for a little bit longer here, nope, that'll be the stagger coming in, and Commit will be requiring a full reset.
Yeah, I kind of wish Shiro would have died a little earlier there, because they still would have the advantage. I mean, there's still people pushing back from Eclipse. You see the Bastion's going to have to move away from point here, and they're probably going to have to give up a tick or so here before their team can set back up. You really need that Orisa for your Bastion to set back up.
Orisa Bastion setting up, and it will be all up to Rocket to touch now. Koro booping him away, but the invulnerability field keeping everybody alive a little bit longer, but the amplification matrix will be damage boosting that Bastion ultimate, but Axiom's absolutely laying in the damage from the high ground here. 9Volt goes for the red. Axiom looks to deny, but he doesn't manage to find the kill onto the Mercy here. Mighty Marf and Shiro, they'll find the next set of kills here for Commit. Mighty Marf trying to do it on his own, trying to take Shony Red out of his position, but the vulnerability field will be keeping him alive. Mighty Marf the next man, but Shony Red is frozen. The Bastion will be going down, and Commit take point A of Hanamura.
Marf did an amazing job there, negating 2 of the ultimates on the side of the Clip 8, they'd use the window along with the Bastion tank configuration on the side of Eclipse, and he had the Eat just lined up right in front of it, and they weren't able to get any value out of it. The Bastion was then left pretty defenseless and died, and they had to use the res really early on. So great job by him there, knowing when he needed the abilities.
5 ultimates for Commit, and it looks like they're going to want to use them here. Mighty Marth looking to pick up everybody they can. Blizzard's going both ways here. And Cryptic Force and Bray immediately getting frozen out, but Shonir looking to try and hold on to this point all on his own. Mighty Marth forced back into the corner of Axiom, trying to do what he can here, but it's not going to be enough. Commit going in with an ultimate advantage and leaving with nothing.
Yeah, maybe didn't want to invest the Blizzard there. It seemed a little bit late into the fight, but I understand why they're trying to get an early take there, maybe trying to get some percentage, but they weren't able to get enough for a first tick, which does hurt them there a little bit. Rocket has done an amazing job just putting pressure onto Ice. I think Ice has gone down first in about all 3 of these last pushes for them, and those eye fields are incredibly important. So Rocket, if he can keep being a nuisance for them, he's already back up to 90% on the pulse bomb. He used it in the last fight here, and if he can build this up here, why the side of Commit's pushing in, that could be a really big ultimate for them.
We do have the Great Influx, and the Amplification Matrix will be used as they're walled in here by Shoney Red. A fantastic positioning. Shoney Red will be taking out Sir Andy Bray and absolutely shredding everybody here in this hallway. Might as well be a blender for the Commit boys, just trying to get out as best they can.
Yeah, I think Specs hit it on the nail between maps there. Shoney Red has been big for Eclipse. These walls have been insane, just splitting off the side of Commit perfectly. And I mean, and I know the walls are kind of decreased now for the amount of HP they have, but just that little bit of split second it takes to break through a wall can disorient a team enough, especially for how unmobile some of these tanks are. If you catch an Orisa without Fortify on that side of the wall, it's basically just a sitting target for them. And now they are going to have ultimates lined up on the side of Eclipse. They can definitely hold this here, but 4 pretty big ults open here on the side of Commit. They need to either invest some ults here early on and hope to not die all to this Blizzard.
Oh, and the Blizzard is eaten by Marv immediately. Bray forced to drop. The Gravitic Flux will be picking up 3 members here for the Sound Barrier to counter it. Will be immediately used. Axiom in the backline with the Death Blossom Ice, fragging it out. Finding Shoney Red and Bray looking to close one out. Rocket still alive on point, though he can stagger on the Tracer, but it's not going to be enough as 1 point ticks over. And the end of the map, that'll be Hanamura going the way of Commit, firing right back, bringing us to 1-1.
Oh, great job there for Commit. Marv coming in so clutchy then, eating the Blizzard, getting the big lift off. Just, oh, massive job there for Marv. A deserving play of the game for Marv. Pretty much winning them that last fight. They did have all the ultimates ready, but great job from him.
And then putting the shield, and I don't quite get to see him eat the Blizzard here, but Marv did a fantastic job there closing out that Hanamura map and firing. Like we said, 1-1. Nobody was expecting this close of a series except for maybe me. Just saying. But we will throw it back to our desk. We've got Specs and Light Rose to break down the map that's maybe a little bit more close to the storyline we were expecting.
So yeah, Booth, you definitely said it. That Blizzard Eat, I think, won the map for Commit. It was just so well done.
Fist and that Reaper combo in the previous meta, seeing how we're having to play Reaper and Mei to be the quote-unquote meta at this point, and how they swapped Shiro over from Reaper to Mei is a little bit questionable. The walls that have been coming out from Shoney Red have been clutch, but like Light Rose was saying, yeah, Marv absolutely won that map. Not only on the attack there, the defense with some of the plays he was making and the space he was creating for his DPS to really cover that gap was huge.
Now, Commit evening the series up, and what do you think this means for the momentum of the series in general? Of course, Eclipse really caught him off guard, put him on the back foot with that first map, but going 1-1, do you think this affects Commit's mentality at all? Of course, getting a win is always going to be positive for your mental game, but do you think it's enough to really unshake them from that first map?
I think this map is big for momentum. You're going into halftime, And we might see that Bastion come out again. And if that can work, that DPS shine more on the side of Eclipse, then they can feel really good going into halftime.
All right, we're getting into it. And this, of course, was Eclipse's pick. So they may have something lined up for us. I think it'll probably be on the defense, though, as I think we might have seen them run a Bastion. But this was the map that, what was it? Harmony Finals actually ended on. And so we'll get to see a little bit more of it here. But Shoney Red loading in on a Widowmaker and Rocket on a Hanzo, looking to give us a whole another form of Eclipse. What do you think this means, Booth?
Yeah, we haven't seen double sniper from them yet. Maybe Shoney Red's trying to get an early pick. They might be expecting a double sniper or something out of the side of commit. Don't have it here, obviously. You might see a couple of switches from them. No Lucio again. A lot of space for Shiro to pump in damage early on when they're pushing through these corners. You might have to see them switching over from 9-volt over on the Zenyatta to a Lucio, possibly. But the positioning from commit might allow Eclipse to get close enough in before too much damage can come through.
Now, Myriad calls from both sides. This will be a true test here. Spray's shield goes down. The main wall cuts off Serenity and Big Marth, but it's not going to be enough. The invulnerability field keeping everybody on Eclipse alive around this corner just for now. Shiro, they'll find the first pick onto Rocket, winning that Hanzo duel. That's going to be huge. And Maywall not finding anybody here for Eclipse. And that almost certainly spells disasters. They're slowly getting ground out here by commit.
I mean, look at the ult percentage from Marth already, up to 81 on the Sigma. And Koro is going to have the window here as well. That is a scary thing to see when you're on the side of Eclipse, to have those two big ultimates up and ready. We see Rocket and 9-volt switching over to the Pharmacy now on the side of Eclipse. They're really going to put a lot of pressure here on the Shiro. Ice over on the Zenyatta could be pretty effective against that, because really with that a discorded target, shouldn't be terribly much for Shiro to hit. Doesn't necessarily hit a headshot for one of the insta kills, but they're putting still so much pressure on these shields on the side of Eclipse. I don't know if the Pharmacy might not be the best choice.
It might not be the best choice, but they're going to go with it. Rocket being put under immense pressure from Shiro, and Ice here is raining in the damage. The Maywall, though, from Eclipse just trying to keep their tanks alive for a little bit longer. Rocket finds the pick on Ice. That's exactly what they need going into this one. Ice was 80% to a Transcendence, and he's not going to get to use it here. Eclipse looking for their opportunity, uses the Amplification Matrix, trying to grind through Commit's roster. They're up one man. Bubbers going down to half health, and the invulnerability field is used. Big Marth looks to change the tides of the fight with his own Gravitic Flux. Will be taking out Bubbers, but Rocket trading right back on the Koro means nobody gets baptized. Big Marth are taking Rocket right out of the sky. Boy, slowly taking over. Will probably be one tick here, unless Shiro can find the touch. 9-volt and will be going down, but the Hanzo traded right back. Next pick goes for Ice, and Serenity closing it back out. Commit don't even give up a tick.
Wow, Marth had one of the craziest accretions I've ever seen, hitting the Mercy, flying across the point there, and then basically left the Mercy just a sitting prey to die after that, going through with the res. Again, coming in clutch for them when they need it, not giving up the tick, but they're going to have lots of ults. You see the Moira now over out of Bubbers, but basically everybody else in their team, except they're going to the Valkyrie, is the only thing they don't really have here, and it's really going to come up to, can they negate the combo here of a Blizzard and of a Barrage? That's a hard thing to get through themselves. It's really going to come down to maybe Shiro can get an opening pick on the Pharmacy.
The Bongo and both Blizzards use Marth trying to eat it, but Ice will be committing, and Shiro coming up huge, finding 2 kills for his team here on this Widowmaker. Shoney Red trades back onto Acting, but it's not enough. The sniper on the platform, Shiro, is going to be doing it all on his own.
Wow, that's such a massive thing for commit. I mean, they basically have 2 heroes invested over on the side of Eclipse. They have the Pharmacy, of course, and really 1 hero shutting both of them down. Shiro coming in massive for them. We do see Shoney Red going over to the Widowmaker, maybe trying to put some pressure into them, but there's no one really to deal with Axiom then. You have to expect that basically that the Pharmacy has to be the one taking care of her, taking care of the Mei on the side of commit.
Early Gravitic Flux used along with the invulnerability field, though, will be from commit, trying to keep their players alive from that ultimate. Although the Amplification Matrix will be used around the corner. Shiro looking for a pick of his own, goes back up onto the high ground here. He's ready for his firing range, and Shoney Red trying to trade back, but it doesn't matter because Marth and Shiro are too much to be stopped. These two have put an end to every single push.
That was a great job by them. There's not really going to be much time. They're going to have to go to basically stall here just to get back to point here over on the side of Eclipse. And there's not going to be any ultimates for him here. If Sir Andy can get up a charger in the middle of this fight, that can be a massive advantage for them.
Bray will be the man to swing on the point. This hamster ball looking to do what he can. The wall doesn't quite land, and it's going to be enough to take it over into overtime. Pushing on, Shiro finds a pick. Another one on the 9-volt, but Shoney Red takes out Ice in return. the Widow duel going on, and Shiro gets the best of Bummers here. Rocket will be taking out Koro. The support slowly going down. Eclipse not quite done with this one. Rocket's still on the point. The Tracer trying to do everything he can, but Shiro is just too much on this Widowmaker. Bray touching for as long as he can, swinging around on this hamster ball. No hitbox to be seen. Shiro will not be able to take him out. 9-volt back on point. The spawn slowly coming in for Eclipse, but it's not going to be enough as overtime ticks down, and full held will be Eclipse.
Yeah, Commit lost both their supports there at the end too, and they were still able to hold there for I think it was about 15 or 20 seconds at the end. It really just shows to how strong they are as a team. Most teams would just crumble without having any healing there, but the eye field was thrown out right before the Baptiste died on the side of Commit, and they're able to basically just stay through there and build up a lot of their damage to use those ults at the end. A very dominant first hold for them. Hollywood, a map you sometimes see that on, but man, compared to how these last two maps have gone, you wouldn't have expected a full hold there, but Eclipse have a big jog ahead of them here to even just push for a tie.
Yeah, on their own map pick as well, Eclipse is not the way you want to go. Hopefully they have something special in their pocket here. For the defense, in 8 seconds we'll just be getting to see, but there had to be a reason they picked this map, and we saw a pretty standard composition come out from them. And so I'm curious to see what it is, because Eclipse always seem to have something in their back pocket.
See, even if they maybe had a Bastion strat planned, it's kind of hard to full hold with that when you need to full hold a tick, because they can just speed to point, wall you off, and basically block you from falling down the point. You have to keep someone close enough to be able to contest. So they're basically just running a pretty standard composition here. You have the Baptiste and the Zen, you have the Hanzo Mei, which is basically what we're seeing to be kind of the new one of the new meta here. Sometimes you see Reinhardt shifted in over top of the Sigma. But yeah, they might have had big plans for this, but they're going to have to push those aside to just be able to try to hold here. And we see the Sombra over on the side of Commit. That's probably just for scouting again for them. I'm going to expect them to probably go back to something pretty much of a mirror composition, because they're going to have a pretty big advantage just having to get a tick in those 4 minutes.
Yeah, I think they just want to see real quick if it's a Bastion they're going to be running up against here. If they can get a quick little tick. Shiro getting teleported right and going to go for an early pick, but totally meta here from Eclipse. So they're going to have to play it just as well, and it's going to be a tough order with My Big Marf and Shiro popping off like they just did, because if Shiro stays on, this series might just spell disaster here for Eclipse. Marf was one thing to deal with, but having two Commit players pop off like that is a totally different monster.
Yeah, any pick that Shiro can get here will be massive for them. They have no mercy to res it on the side of Eclipse.
Early invulnerability field from Commit. They do try to reset just around this corner. Gain themselves a little bit of an advantage, though. Will be Eclipse, but back out. Slowly, Shiro takes out 9-volt with the body shot. Early, they're going to push quickly here onto the point. The Maywell cutting off Bray. That's almost certainly a dead Orisa here. Axiom pushing on along with Shiro. These DPS have been key this match. The Amplification Matrix already from Commit as they grind their way onto the point and are almost certainly going to be taking us to a map 3.
Yeah, they're going to try to come in and stall here. 9-volt get able to touch. And Rocket does get the Dragon Stock off before they die, but I don't think it's going to be enough. No. Commit very convincingly taking this map here and making it 2-1 now in our series.
Man, Shiro on that Widowmaker seems like an absolute force to be reckoned with, but honestly, if you're Eclipse, every other map looked great up until then. That was a complete just steamroll out of Commit. I'm honestly not sure what Eclipse need to do, but that's what we have a desk for. Specs, Light Rose, you want to break down maybe what Eclipse can do differently after this halftime, or what they need to have a talk about?
Yeah, I think for me it's the positioning, especially when we have a Shiro Widow coming out, which, by the way, don't let Kefri see. Questions might arise there. Really some big picks there. Just some questionable positioning, especially from the squishy targets on the side of Eclipse. Really playing as a group and kind of a death ball at this point is going to be huge.
Honestly, I want to focus on the tank play of Commit. That in the positioning, the shield play. Obviously, we want to mention My Big Marf again. He had a really big map. He's having a really big match. But you don't want to discount Sir Andy. The Orisa definitely did wonders, and it was a big reason why Commit held first point. And right now, it seems that what I said before, Commit finally got their mojo.
All right, so for an absolutely riveting 3 matches, nobody could have predicted exactly the way this one was going. Eclipse showing up a lot more than we expected him to, but Commit firing right back for 2 maps in a row. Will Eclipse manage to get a handle right back on it? That's going to be something for us to find out in the second half, as we're going to do a little bit of a break. It'll be 10 minutes, and we'll see you. All right, everybody, welcome back from halftime. Hope everybody got their orange slices and their Gatorade because we're lining up for a fantastic match. But to break down that last match for you, we have Light Rose and Specs to say a little bit more about how Hollywood went.
Yeah, so really looking at that last map there and the series as a whole so far, what we've seen from Commit is their tank play. And, you know, we really kind of knew that coming in, how strong Andy and Morph can be on the Orisa and the Sigma, respectively. One thing interesting to note here is that in the previous meta and in the last games, Andy was playing over on the Sigma, making a switch over to the Orisa now. And it doesn't seem like him or Marth has really missed a beat. The Orisa from the side of Andy has been fantastic with wall placement, with just ult usage in general, really getting out that extra damage with the supercharger. And then we've kind of sung the praises for Marth already at this point, really focusing on the gravitic fluxes and the accretions, which have shut down a couple ults from the side of Eclipse. Really focusing on that is going to be the key for Commit's victory at this point.
On the side of Eclipse, I think what's really keeping them back is their tank positioning isn't as good as Commit's, but the real thing is the supports. Positioning is really holding them back. On Hollywood, at that first defense, 9-volt, I don't want to be too harsh, but you kind of threw. Like, being one of the squishiest heroes in the game, Zenyatta, and being out in the open in front of the shields off to a position when they have one of the best hit scans in the entire community, that just can't happen. And you need to protect your supports more, let your supports know that they're doing something kind of stupid, and just kind of turn things around, especially after Hollywood.
Yeah, so really focusing on that play there. One thing we do have to definitely note at this point is Eclipse's DPS play. Shoni Red, again, with the Mei has been fantastic. We've seen some interesting comps come out from the side of Eclipse as well with the Bastion Tracer, and, you know, a comp that typically would never work, really held Commit first point on Hanamura especially. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what kind of DPS comps Eclipse brings out here. What's your thoughts on that, Light Rose?
Honestly, we're going on these next maps, we got through a lot of the Mei maps, and if you can put Shoni Red on that Mei, you can go far. Rocket's kind of been on that Tracer, and he's done work, but Tracer's still not powerful enough to really make an impact. So if you keep Shoni Red on that Mei, have Rocket complement that, that's where you can have the synergy to really make plays.
Yeah, you know, really focusing on the play from Eclipse is going to be important. Focusing on what they can do and how they can turn a map, and, you know, really seeing what they can do as a team is huge. But bringing us back into the action here, we have Door and we have Boo.
All right, we're loading in. And the next map is going to be Junkertown. So a few interesting things. It'll be a field day here for Shiro, but I think it might just play into the hands of Eclipse. I think it's a pretty good pick for them. It can be a fairly scrappy map, which I think is exactly what they need to really turn the tides in their favor. What do you think, Boo?
Yeah, I agree. I think their Bastion comp worked pretty well on Hanamura, even though it didn't. I think maybe if they do that on either, you see Bastion run a lot on this map, offense or defense, so don't worry about where they're going to play it. Maybe they are, though. That could be pretty strong here. I mean, if Shiro is over on the Widowmaker, you kind of got to like their chances if we're going to have Widow v Widow. But I like the pick for them. I like the pick out of Eclipse, though. I think it was the right choice for them.
Now, out of Commit, we're seeing Axiom put back on the Mei, which I don't particularly like. I would have rather seen a double sniper from them, or really anything else. I understand you want to keep Shiro on those carry heroes right now, especially when he's popping off like he is. But at the same time, Axiom's Mei has impressed me the least out of the three Meis that we've seen. Shoni Red has just run an absolute clinic on the hero tonight. And I think this composition coming out of Eclipse really might just be the foil that they need. Rocket on the Junkrat, Rocket gonna be switching back to a signature Tracer, but Bray on the Hog is gonna be something we haven't gotten to see yet tonight. What do you think it means for us?
Yeah, it used to be like the one map you always got to run Hog. Like in Double Sniper, you'd see Hog being played as like a third support sometimes, just to have a lot of damage into shields. That added pressure is gonna be a lot for them, but it's really gonna depend if they can get halt hooks up or not, because if not, they're gonna have so much advantage over on side of Commit.
Early picks going both ways, but Cryptic Force taking off 3 means there's no main tank here for Commit. Laying in the damage though is Bray, putting in those hog shots as best he can. The halt lands onto nobody, but they're pushing up aggressively. They know there's no main tank, but Bray gets frozen out. He gets caught. Will be able to stay alive just barely. The invulnerability field now available here for Eclipse with the main tank just coming back for Commit. But it's such a long walk here. They get all the way around this third corner.
It is, and if they're able to get up a dragon here pretty early, they don't have an immortality.
And Shiro takes out Rocket next with a headshot, a quick one onto the Tracer. As Bray forced out, he gets purpled and resetting right behind these cars. Eclipse is trying to get the foothold as best they can. It's going to be up to Shoney Red here, though, to find a pick. On the Widowmaker, and picks up 4. Will be miming Marf with the Gravitic Flux. Shoney Red takes advantage of it, though, and finds Shiro. Axiom making the most of it, though, trading right back on a 9-volt and Shoney Red.
One thing Marf does so well when he's doing the Gravitic Flux, and I can say this as a very much a low Diamond Sigma player that I don't do, is that he takes advantage when he's in the air. He doesn't just keep falling backwards. He doesn't just fall straight down. He goes back forward to a different positioning he wants. There's a lot of advantage you can have positioning-wise when you're coming out of that ultimate where you can land forward, you can land backwards. And he always does a great job putting himself in position to follow up on those kills. You only really get one shot off on somebody lifted into the air, but he gets like 2 or 3 really big shots off onto people because of where he positions himself.
Now, lots of ultimates coming up for either of these teams, but the pulse bomb goes in, doesn't find anybody in the invulnerability field, keeping them alive inside. They're just going to be able to reset here. Commit back on, but Eclipse have that foothold on the cars that they need. Shoney Red's waiting for his opportunity. He's looking for his shot, but the Dragon comes in from Commit. Cryptic Force caught out from the rest of his team. He's backing up, but he doesn't get anything. Shoney Red trades right back on a Shoney. Shoney Red looking to do it all alone, finds 2 picks here. It's not over for Eclipse. They can make the most of this. Rocket look for his pick, but he gets an accretion to the face. Marf looking to find the pick onto the Tracer, but instead it'll be him going down to the hook here of Bray. Holding on to his ultimate a little bit longer. Honey Badger trying to do it, but the first point will be going the way of Eclipse finally.
Eclipse did a really interesting there. They kind of like baited, like they were backing up to spawn or waiting for something, but then they took fantastic positioning and pushed in on the remaining staggers there of Commit, and now they have 6 ultimates coming in. I mean, Axiom does have the Blizzard, and I mean, one Blizzard can win a fight pretty easily. You see Shiro now going over to the McCree, maybe thinking that Rocket on the Tracer is an issue for them, and Honey Badger over there on the Mercy. An interesting pick right there for them early on. Maybe you're going to see a switch of Axiom after this fight or something.
I think we might be starting to see the hints of maybe a little bit of over-aggression here from Marf. He was playing excellently. Oh, but already a fight going to be starting out. The invulnerability field, though, going down from uppers. The Blizzard will be committed early, just trying to get Eclipse off them for as long as they can. They don't quite have the means to pressure this one out, but it will mean that Eclipse can't quite push as aggressively as they wanted to with this Bongo. Instead, the Bongo will be coming in here from Commit, and Rocket lands a pulse bomb and doesn't find the kill on Axiom that he wants, but Bray pushing everybody back with a Gravitic Flux from Marf, picking up with 3 members here and taking out Shoney Red. Rallies in the air, like you mentioned, taking a great position. Although Eclipse is not done with this, 9volt going to be committing the Transcendence. They want to win this fight. The Embodiment Missile going down. They're committing the Amplification Matrix. They're set in this corner. Commit not down yet. Shiro takes out 9volt. 4 members left alive here for Eclipse. Rocket trying to do anything he can to buy his team an advantage, but Axiom not going down to the hook. Instead, it'll be Bubbers and Bray going down, and Eclipse not managing to get anything out of their 6 ultimates.
They weren't, and using everything there. I mean, really, the Blizzard didn't get too much value out of side of Commit there. So just their teamwork really just shining through there and showing how you can survive that many and not lose a fight. They do have the High Noon coming up here. They're getting close to the Valkyrie as well. You see Shoney Red now switching over to the McCree, just popping the sights before switching off the Widowmaker to kind of get maybe a little bit of early scouting. Kind of hard when you're pushing in that far away. They're going to have a window from Bubbers, but no real ultimates. So 2 minutes left, though. You don't really want to see them blowing ultimates this early on anyway.
Yeah, we saw 5 hero swaps up, and it'll be one more person right back to spawn as Rocket goes down to the High Noon. Oh, Shiro, Marf caught off on the low ground. He could go down here, but instead it'll be Bray caught out by the wall. Barely managing to stay alive will be the rest of Eclipse, but need to reset nonetheless.
Yeah, they do need to reset. I really like the positioning here from Commit. They have to push back a little bit now. Rocket going to be able to have a lot of poke on that Hanzo, so they are going to rotate back. They can give up a little bit of cart space here, but watch Marf over the top now. He's about to get the Gravitic Flux again. Watch for a big pull here from Sir Andy before the lift comes in.
Nice little wall from Axiom to keep his off-tank alive. And the Gravitic Flux committed from Marf. Will be picked out with 3 members. Yet again, all of them are big and miming Marf, taking out his counterpart Cryptic Force, and Shiro coming in to clean up on his own.
Yeah, really only winning there with one ultimate. They do lose Shiro pretty late in the fight, but he'll be able to get back in time. But they're going to have the Blizzard. They're probably going to get the High Noon up here again, too. They have both support ultimates. Commit looking very strong to hold this here for a minute. As long as they don't really blow it all in an early fight, like Eclipse either needs to take one really early fight and try to lose here and bait out some of these ultimates and hopefully all die early on, or they need to just do some poke damage here and try to take one last fight and build up some ultimates first. You see Rocket, though, going over to the Junkrat. If they can get a tire up, it's always pretty strong against these comps, especially if they can bait out the immortality field pretty early.
42 seconds left, though. There's not much time to get it up. Mark pulled off the high ground. Will he be punished for it? No, still not going down. He's playing so aggressively, but Eclipse just don't have the tools to take him out. Instead, it'll be Cryptic Force taking out Shiro. The Amplification Matrix used from Commit here. Both ways, though, using their vulnerability fields as well. But Eclipse laying in so much damage. The Bongo committed from Serenity. It's going to be forcing everybody back, but it looks like mirrored ults everywhere here, as the Blizzard will be coming out from Commit. Ray, the first man to get frozen along with Shoner, and that's almost certainly 2 kills going down to Axiom, cleaning him up himself. And Marth with yet another ultimate, taking out Rocket. Trying to hold on 9-volt, uses his Transcendence, but it's not going to be enough. It's 4 seconds tick down on the point, and that's almost certainly the end of the map here for Eclipse.
That was the Blizzard Axiom needed the whole time. It did a great job catching members from Eclipse when they were they weren't really grouped up well enough. So 2 people were able to be caught up. I think it was the McCree and it was the Orisa. And losing both of those early on, you're not going to be able to win a last-second contest like that. Great job there using the Blizzard just at the right time.
All right, another map pick for Eclipse. Another opportunity to run something interesting. We'll see if they have anything other than the standard for us. Of course, Bastion is fairly viable here on the defense, but I'm surprised we didn't get to see it out of him on the offense. Maybe it's just a little bit less viable given the current meta. But with 18 seconds left, what do you expect to see from a team like Commit, who's been running fairly meta all night?
I think they should probably stick to it. The Hanzo's been seeming to work very well for them out of Shiro. But the Mei was doing really well there from Axiom, kind of showing up again, doing a lot better on the Mei here on Junkertown, I think. You could maybe see double sniper out of them early on. They attempted it early on an earlier map on Nepal. And if there's a map to run double sniper, it's like either King's Row first point or it's just Junkertown in general. So it looks like double sniper maybe out of both teams. You're probably going to see Shiro over on the Sombra right now, maybe just getting to a better position in the spawn or something. But I'm going to expect maybe double sniper both ways. We do see the double sniper on defense. That's an interesting pick there on the side of Eclipse. Shoney was doing a great job there on the Widowmaker. But if they do end up running the Bastion here over on the side of Commit, they're really going to regret not having Shoney over on the Mei to try to lift that Bastion up off the cart early on.
Yeah, and they might just get punished as it looks like Shiro's going to be lining up on the robot himself. Although Shoney and Rocket have a real task ahead of them, getting through these shields and getting through the Bastion, but not going to be a Bastion. Shiro swapping back on the Widowmaker, deciding it's not to be. Shoney gets the best of him, making an early statement.
Yeah, big pick to open up there. If I was them, I'd maybe run back in and go to that Bastion. They don't have the Mei to really deal with you early on. But if maybe Shiro can get some pretty good positioning and kind of push him back a little bit further, Eclipse is pushed pretty far forward here and might have a good sightline here onto Shoney Red.
Shoney Red's looking for a duel, but that might not be what he wants here. If Shiro gets the better of him, it almost certainly spells disaster here for Eclipse. Meanwhile, Commit are right next to the spawn, but it doesn't matter. Shoney Red doesn't care about what we think. He's just going to get the frags regardless.
Yeah, big pick for them. Just delaying this cart all the way through. It's going to be basically a whole minute ticked off before Commit can really get a full push through here. And I really like this aggressive position from Eclipse. It doesn't seem to matter that the shields are this far forward. That's what Commit really needs to do here. Eat through these shields that are poked around from spawn.
Shoney Red opting for another duel here against Shiro. Saying, yeah, you know, I did it once, I can do it again. Shiro going for the pick, but doesn't find anything. Instead, it'll be Rocket this time taking Honey Badger right out of the skies. The Mercy no more, and another one on the Serenity, adding right to his kill feed, padding up his stats the best he can.
Yeah, this is amazing out of Eclipse. This is exactly what they need to be able to try to get a win here in Junktown, because they didn't really get to push too far close to second point. They need to delay this first point as much as they can, and already a minute and a half off for them. So this has been great for them. Even if they lose this next fight, this has been really great for Eclipse, and they really needed this to try to win the map.
Pushing in the Orisa, just trying to get what he can. Axiom, though, does not, pardon me, finds a 9-volt on the backside, but Eclipse is not quite dead yet. Marv commits an ultimate, does pick up both the snipers here and takes them both down, slamming them down, finding 2 more kills for Commit, and that's almost certainly going to be the fight, and they finally get to round this corner.
It is. Eclipse is going to have time to recontest again. They do have their Gravitic Flux out of Cryptic Force, so if Bray can get a big pull for them and maybe Shoney can get an early pick on the Shiro, you're going to have sights out of both teams here, and that's definitely going to benefit Commit earlier on here, just so they can kind of see where Shiro is going to be setting up. They do have ults on the side of Commit here as well. They can really throw a lot of ults into this fight here as well because they don't have to push terribly far into second.
Shoney Red has a heck of a task ahead of him looking for the early pick, but Shiro has a Sigma shield placed especially for him. It's going to be so hard to pass, but it doesn't matter because Axiom landing the dragon and Shiro fighting out, finding 3 headshots on the Widowmaker, easily ending that fight.
Yeah, and now you have to see swaps coming out over on the side of Eclipse. You see basically swaps, whole entire 6 new people coming in and going over to a Cryptic over on the Winston, Bray over there, over onto the Wrecking Ball, Doomfist, Tracer, Moira, and Lucio. And then you see switches also coming out on the side of Commit as well. They have 3 minutes, 45 seconds to push this. They really only need 1 fight win here. They don't really need those ultimates. They can just counter this dive because Eclipse can't go back to spawn and change.
I like what we're seeing here out of Eclipse on an early push onto the fight, and Shoney Red takes out Ray Body early. Shiro, though, trading right back onto Rocket. Gonna be pushing him off a point. Axiom, though, trading onto Cryptic Forces. Reaper, perfect to deal with the dive composition the Eclipse are offering up. The Eclipse forced to just wait yet again.
Yeah, Axiom over on that Reaper really makes it hard to play Monkey. And I don't know if they were expecting that. They kind of went really aggressive there, and he was able to punish.
Pushing up, it's gonna be all on to Bray to try and hold on to this point the best he can, but he's getting damaged out all over. Gets slept on the cart. Bray mid-swing. Cryptic Force gets back just in time to possess this cart a little bit longer. 4 members alive here for Eclipse, but no kills going their way. Shoney Red finally finding 1 on the Shiro, the McCree down. Maybe Shoney Red can find something, but Ray Buddy doesn't go down to the punch. Axiom instead finding 3 of his own. Gonna be winning this map here for Commit, going up 3-1.
Yeah, very dominant there from Junkertown, just showing they knew exactly what to do. They switched right when they needed to. They didn't care about those ultimates, which a lot of teams end up sticking with comps, even if it's not the right choice because of that, and showing their dominance here on Junkertown again.
Now Eclipse not able to stabilize after 2 hard map losses. It's going to be 3, going down 3-1. We saw Harmony Finals go exactly the same way. Holy Jalapenos were managed to turn around. We'll have to throw it to the desk. What do you guys think happens here? Do you think Eclipse are able to pull a Holy Jalapenos and turn this one back around, or do you think it's going to be a rough night here for the Eclipse boys?
Fortunately, I just don't see it being turned around at this point. The only way I can see it happening is the DPS from the side of Eclipse. That's the real carry potential at this point. They've depending on the picks they're having and the comp they're running, they've looked stronger than Commit's DPS to this point. But the tank line and the support line are there from the side of Commit, especially with the Mercy pick there on defense, which was massive. Really excited with what they're doing there, and I think it's going to be very hard to top.
Honestly, Commit's just well on the side of Eclipse you've got that DPS being strong, but on the side of Commit you've got both the tanks and supports, and Sir Andy and My Big Marv are just enabling Axiom and Shiro, and the supports of Commit, they're doing a great job of being protected, keeping those heals up. Specs mentioned the Mercy. You keep that Mercy alive, she's just gonna keep healing your team. Get those rests off, you protect those, you've got an extra man. So it's right now, they're just being outclassed, even though they've got better DPS.
Yeah, now looking at the next map pick here, it looks like Eclipse chose Lijiang. What do you think this favors in the side of Eclipse here?
It'll be interesting to see if we see Afara come out on the side of Eclipse, and if really a Widow will come out on each side. If a Widow comes out, then we have to give it to, whoever feeling off. On Junkertown, we saw really a battle on each side. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top.
Looking to get into map 5 here, sending it back over to Door and Booth.
All right, loading in. We got 1 second left as we get to see these teams load in. It'll be Rocket on a Pharah and Shoney Red on a Hanzo. They're looking to carry this one out with that Pharah Mercy. Shiro locking in his extra special Torbjorn just for us. Not sure that's what we'll be seeing, but do you want to break these team comps down for us, Booth?
Yeah, so the first thing I want to go over, I know Specs just mentioned it, kind of like why would you pick Lijiang on the side of Eclipse? I think the reason they kind of picked Lijiang here is that it's not Ilios, which is the other option. I think this one, where focus is a little bit better for them here. It kind of blocks some of these sidelines. You do see Rocket over on the Pharah that you heard Light Rose mentioning. And we see White Room push here from Commit. Good for them. That's going to block a lot of the sightlines. And they're going to run into 3 members of Eclipse early on here. And if they get a pick early on, that'd be big.
I think that surprises me most out of Eclipse that they didn't lock in that Winston Wrecking Ball that we saw out of them earlier. There's a fantastic map for it here on Garden. but the first point control is going to go right over to Commit. Eclipse has no foothold on this point quite yet. Is Bray finally getting a touch, but he immediately gets walled off, and Purple in the invulnerability field keeping alive just barely, but Serenity will be taking out Bubbers almost inevitably at this point. The invulnerability field up for Commit still. Rocket finds a pick on the Honey Badger though, trading right back one support for one support, but 6% already given over, and Serenity finds a massive halt onto the tanks here of Eclipse, and that's almost certainly going to mean a first good chunk of percent going to be going the way of Commit.
They, the side of Eclipse didn't deal with Shiro when they pushed White Room. The rest of Commit pushed point, and then Shiro kind of stayed in the backline a bit, and it split the side of Eclipse up, half for going after Shiro, half for going after point. And then there was a big wall on the side of Axiom that just split across and let Bray go down really early. And that just shows the kind of level that Commit's playing out here. That crossfire has been massive. Shiro's been in backlines and forcing fights this whole entire night.
Bray finding the early pick on Axiom though, taking him out. The Amplification Matrix used in a big purple grenade, finding 3 members here, but Rocket finding Shiro, trying to dismantle this Commit composition one by one. Raid Body finding Bray though, and a barrage committed from Rocket, gonna be finding 1 member to try and close out this fight. Serenity, the last member left alive from Commit, only giving away 50%. Eclipse managed to take the point over in their progression.
Yeah, Rocket did a great job there picking off the DPS. I see Shiro going over to the McCree now, maybe thinking to deal with this fire a little bit, seeing that is the problem. They are going to have the window from Bubbers, and they're going to have the Valkyrie as well, getting close to this dragon. They really need to win this next fight here. They can't let Commit take this back over, because then the ultimates are going to be swinging right back in the way of Commit, while they'll be pushing close to about 70–80% on a recontest. So they need to open up with ults early here, and they need to win very quickly.
The winner of this next fight is going to have a massive advantage here. Rolling on into the rest of this point, 30% taking down on the point. Serenity looks for an early engage, but the bongo coming out from Commit. The invulnerability fields from both sides, trying to keep him alive. Rocket raining in the damage as best he can, but Shiro knocks him right out of the sky. 9-volt though, back with the res. My Big Marv comes up with another big gravitic flux, picking up 2 members here of Eclipse, but nobody gonna be going down to this one. Shiro trying to dish out as much damage as he can. Maywall comes in from Axiom, but doesn't find anybody. Instead, it'll be Bubbers taking out his counterpart Raid Body, and Cryptic Force fragging out onto Axiom using his own gravitic flux, picking up everybody. It's gonna be Cryptic Force coming up huge for Eclipse here in the fight that mattered most.
That was massive, and they took down Axiom right when they needed to, getting really close up to 90% in the ultimate and going down right when that fight kind of swing back over into the favor of Eclipse. Now, they're not going to have many ultimates besides Rocket's Barrage here, and there's a lot of ultimates coming down the side of Commit. So I think they either need to try to open up early here with Rocket's Barrage if they can build it up quickly, or just try to take a dry fight here, bait out some of these ultimates. If they can push 99%, that gives them a pretty good recontest there where they'll have some of their ultimates built back up. But really, the side of Commit here, basically, they can't invest everything.
Yeah, a really scary lineup of ultimates coming in here from Commit. That Blizzard and the Amplification Matrix could be absolutely huge. It's going to be all up to Rocket here, but Shiro takes Shoni right out of the game immediately. The Blizzard only landing on a half a point here. Cryptic Force not quite managing to get out. Rocket taken right out of the skies. Nothing available here for Eclipse. 9-volt does manage to get the res off on a Shoni right, but Shiro on the backside with a 3-man High Noon. It's going to end that fight nice and early. Eclipse managed to get 99% on the point, but Commit taking it in a commanding fashion, taking it back over in their favor.
They did take it, but they don't really have any ultimates left online here to deal with Eclipse if they can push in early on. I don't really know if they needed to actually even use the High Noon. They got a lot of picks with it, but they seem to already have the fight one here, and they might be regretting that, especially with the Pharah having all here. The Pharah doesn't have to worry about the High Noon being up. Kind of maybe take a little bit more of an aggressive angle and getting close to the Dragon as well. They really got to get Marv's Gravitic Flux up very early here. That's going to be their main way of winning here, and then Sir Andy needs to get a lot of damage in so they can get the Supercharger up.
Rocket's just waiting for an opportunity to establish himself in the sky. And he's going to be putting himself in this doorway early, but a Gravitic Flux will be picking up 3 members here of Eclipse, putting everybody down, not going to be finding any kills. And the barrage comes in, but Shiro gets the better of Rocket, taking him right out of the air. No res available. Bray takes out the invulnerability field, but Shoni, oh my god, fights 4 with the Dragon, winning the fight for Eclipse, keeping their playoff hopes alive. It's going to be the overtime ticking over. Last man left alive is Honey Badger, trying to fly around at this point. He stays alive a little bit longer. My Big Marv hops over the gap. The Wrecking Ball still alive here for Commit. When he's holding on to this point, the Winston dives in. The invulnerability field still available. It's not over yet. Shoni Red, though, doing the best he can to keep hold of this point. Axiom gonna be the next man that touches. Overtime ticks down, but almost certainly without the tanks, it'll be the end of the point here for Commit. They have 2 members alive on point. Axiom just trying to get in, not going to be getting the better here of Rocket. And 100% to 99%, it'll be Eclipse winning map 1 of Lijiang.
You got to think on the side of Commit, they maybe would have liked to have 1 or 2 of those ultimates back that they used to retake the point there. Because it really just came down, they weren't able to kill Eclipse quick enough before they got their ultimates up. And Shonirad having the massive Dragon Strike there, splitting the point straight in half. No eye field to protect him. Eclipse again showing why they... on these maps where it's a little more chaotic on these controls, that they do match up here with Commit pretty well. Of course, they won first map 2-0, and looking pretty good here so far. I like where they can sit here. Shonirad looks like they're going to be on the Pharah again. I like that opening pick for them. That's going to have to force Commit to take a switch here, because right now Shiro and Axiom are going to be on nothing really hit scanning to deal with that. So if they can get to point quick here with Rocket's teleporter before Shiro's teleporter can get them there, then they might have a pretty big advantage without having hit scan.
We see Symmetrous from both sides. This first fight is going to be so hectic as both teams look to teleport out here early. The Symmetra, oh my god, My Big Mark though getting shredded through by Symmetra. Not gonna be enough though, as he barely managed to stay alive outside of the point, but it will be Eclipse establishing themselves on the point. And Brave finding the first pick onto Sir Andy. His counterpart on that Orisa trying to grind it out. Shiro finds the pick on a Shonirad, but Rocket, Cryptic Force, gonna be closing out 9 Volt, just reses up his Pharah nice and easy.
Yeah, so Commit took the Symmetra approach, where you're just trying to get out of spawn quickly, but then Eclipse took a whole different approach and tried to get to the top of the point with the Symmetra teleport, which gave him a lot of space, because then Commit couldn't just push straight to point, and Shonirad had lots of space on the Pharah to poke and damage.
All right, pushing in, we do see Commit getting the best they can on the point. They swap onto the Reinhardt, gonna be an interesting pick here. Coming out of Commit, Mark committing early though, and he's almost certainly gonna get punished for it, but it doesn't matter because Shonirad gonna be closing it out with a 3-man barrage. The DPS of Eclipse have turned on here on Lijiang.
They did. That was a great job from them. We do see support ultimates coming up pretty soon for them. There's not really much happening over the side of Commit. Yeah, we see double swaps here out of support. We see Honey Badger over to the Baptiste and Raybody over to the Lucio. Sticking with the same DPS they've had, Marth now over on the Reinhardt. They ran that on control on the first map as well. Didn't see much success out of it yet. He went pretty aggressive early on there.
It's so difficult though. The Symmetra turret set up right on the entrance to the point. The Maywall from Axiom not gonna be finding anybody. Instead, it'll be Bubbers finding Shiro. Shonirad coming in and just fragging out. There's gonna be Eclipse. Absolutely nothing given to a Commit here.
Cryptic Force did lose the Gravitic Flux there. It probably wasn't even needed in the fight anyway. I think he was charged out of it. But still, not really nothing needed on the side of Eclipse to win that fight. And now look at all the ultimates. And really the Shatter is really the only thing to win this fight here. We see Shiro now over on the McCree and gets that opening pick. That's what they needed.
He stops the res coming out from 9 Volt, taking a wide angle. This is going to be a tough one here, but Rock finding pick on the raid line. And Cryptic Force finding might be wrong. It's disaster here for Commit. They had a 2-man advantage, but Eclipse going to do it on their own. 80% taking over on the point. The Symmetra wall, the only thing needed to be committed.
Did Rocket get another wall like in between that fight? I think he used it in the last fight too. That is insane speed to get that back. But when you have a Reinhardt pushing in, that's a lot more shield to push through. But look at those 3 massive ultimates for them up there. The Shatter's the only thing Commit win this fight.
TPing onto the high ground is Axiom, but he's not going to be finding anything. This is the only chance for Commit to win this map back. The Shatter comes in, finds 3 members of Eclipse, but they're not able to capitalize. The Bongo instead will be used from Break. Going to be dishing out a ton of damage here. Set back up and Shonirad. He finds 2 members with the barrage. Cryptic Force and Rocket going to be closing out the rest. Committed from Honey Badger somehow managed to get that one off. Picking Shiro right back up, but it's not going to be enough as Eclipse hold out onto their playoff hopes for a little bit longer. In the finals when it matters, 3-1. It will not be ending 4-1. Instead, Eclipse bring it back 3-2.
Eclipse looking very strong on these control points. I think it's just, like as I said again, so much hectic for them. They're able to take advantage of just kind of just the craziness control maps involve and let their DPS really pop off.
A huge ultimate from Shiro on the backside, but it might have been what killed them there on that map. It was the one ultimate that they might have needed to win that next fight. And it will be Eclipse taking it 2-0, gaining 1 more foothold back into this series. We'll throw it back to the desk. Light Rose, Specs, how are Eclipse turning this one around?
Yeah, like we were saying, it's definitely a DPS play. The Symmetra and the Pharah there on Night Market was crucial. With Commit running the double shield into the Symmetra, allows for her to build up her beam very quickly. Allows for everything to really melt at that point too. We saw the barriers being built in 45-50 seconds, which just really allowed for Eclipse to play around them and focus on what they can do. I'm very impressed with what they were doing there.
On the side of Commit, especially on the second point, the swaps just weren't there. you swap to the McCree halfway through the round. You get 2 fights in. And the first fight, you get that Pharmercy out of the sky, and you still lose the point. You can't have that happen when you've got a 2-man advantage, 4v6, and you have to kill the Symmetra. Symmetra gets so much damage, especially with that Reinhardt. She's just going to be firing that beam endlessly. She is one of the first people that needs to go down, and that focus fire wasn't there. But luckily, we're going off of that kind of control point, going onto that King's Row. Commit, the only maps that they've lost today have been those control point. So hopefully they can get this King's Row one and close it out.
Yeah, like you were saying there, Light Rose, going over to King's Row here, it's obviously known as Goat's Row, and you know, has that kind of infamous reputation. But the reason that kind of stays true or is critical here is the side and the tanks of Commit, being able to play a potential with potential Ryan, potential Sigma with Mei. Is going to be huge, and at the end of the day, I think walling off chokes and really creating that space with the tanks is going to be huge. But we'll go back and send this over to Dora and Booth.
All right, coming in, I think that we're going to have a decent opportunity here for Eclipse to run their Bastion strat, at least on the first point. And we've actually seen a few really interesting Bastion attack strats as of recent. We saw one meme strat where they teleported a Bastion directly on top of the statue, and by some miracle, that ended up working. But the Bastion attack is a serious threat that could come out from Eclipse here, but it doesn't look like that's what we're going to be seeing. Is Cryptic Force locks in a Winston and Bray locks in a Zarya. What do you think this means for us?
Yeah, I'm guessing that's not what we're going to see. If it is, I'd really like to throw that back to 2016 Overwatch, which is a lot of fun. I'd like to suggest a few changes to Jeff if we're going back to that meta again. But yeah, I think I was the one casting a few of those times when we saw the Bastion teleport to the top of Zenyatta's heads. And like, I don't know if that's going to work in Discord. I sure want to see if it does, because it was awesome to watch. But we kind of see a pretty standard comp coming out on the side of Commit. We see Shiro on the Hanzo, which I don't know why you take Shiro off the Hanzo. Has been doing just absolutely fantastic on it. Ice and Koro back in on support for them. Going to have a lot of damage into any kind of shields you see coming out. With Rein Zarya over on the side. And they do have the Symmetra here as well, so watch for a quick TP.
We see Cryptic Force on the Reinhardt. They're looking for an early push. Shonir finds a wall on the 2 members here of Commit, pushing him off the point early. Cryptic Force swinging in. He wants kills and he wants them now. First point tick will be going over to Eclipse. They're not done yet. Ice finds the pick on the Rocket. Shonir and Cryptic Force, the next people to go down. Only a tick over for Eclipse, but certainly making a statement with an aggressive push.
It was Eclipse. That's an interesting comp to see around there. That's basically they were just running goats. They just did. They had the Symmetra in there. They had in the Mei, Zarya, Brig, Lucio. It's probably the only time you'll see a comp like that. It looks like they're gonna stick on it. No swaps yet for them. That's a very aggressive comp. If they can just focus down one target and get a kill early on, that's a lot of burst damage, especially if the Symmetra can charge up shields quickly.
And they charge right past the amplification matrix. They're not for Shiro finds a pick on the Cryptic Force. Shiro taking off angle on Hanzo. He can dish out so much damage now. Bobber's trying to swing in on the Brigitte, but Rocket taking out Shiro and Sir Andy. He's dealing so much damage on the Symmetra. He's not dead yet. Axiom trying to do anything he can to get the better of him, but he'll be going down as well. Marth and Ice, the last 2 members left alive, and Point the Transcendence will be committed, but dishing out so much damage. Marth, the next man to go down. Ice as well. Eclipse gain a foothold on this point and take point A of King's Row.
Rocket absolutely came in clutch there, getting so much damage on the Symmetra. Ice's Transcendence was just mistimed by just like a microsecond. A little bit shorter, they might have been able to hold that point there. But that's a fun composition. I haven't seen this run yet from Eclipse. Give me some flashbacks, man, to like real King's Row maps where you just run right into teams. I was first thinking they weren't going to have enough enough shield to get through all the damage that you have on the side of Commit. But they pushed right through that eye field. If they would have been any slower, they just would have been shredded through. But look at all the ultimates they have coming up now. They're going to be able to combine everything.
Oh, the grab inside of the cafe is huge, but the Dragon committed from Shiro going to be cutting everybody in half and shutting down that creative play from Bray.
Yeah, 9-volt throughout the sound barrier there too. They're definitely going to want that back, especially because Axiom does have the Blizzard. And now they're all dying. We do see a couple ultimates for them, but maybe it's time for them to switch. It's going to be really hard to push out a choke here, unless they can maybe push through right and not take much damage from Shiro on this Hanzo, but they can just shell damage at them if they come through main.
Looks like they're going to opt for the alternate route here. Oh, man. Eclipse going to have to... they're going to have to play five members. Bubbers ended up crashing here, but they don't have any timeouts left due to the way that they had to wait for Bubbers earlier on in the match. It's Little unfortunate for them. Forced to wait in this side room. Maybe they just wait for him to reload in, though, to be completely honest.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for them to push through here, waiting for Bubbers to come back in. It's definitely unfortunate for them. But they will have ultimates for that at least, which is good. They used beat pretty early in that fight, so they didn't really lose. I mean, they didn't. Bubbers was on the main support actually. They do have the Symmetra shield, and they're going to have Blizzard with the Shatter. That could be pretty big for them. But Commit's going to be able just to build up ultimates while they wait for Bubbers to come back in. So yeah, pretty unfortunate on that side. But for them, if Cryptic can get off a big Shatter for them before they can get a big May ult in, that'd be really big.
Looks like they're going to go for it with 5 men trying to push to this choke point. That's a tall order of 5. I've never seen one, but they've got 3 ultimates to do it. And it's Cryptic Force pushing in first. The Blizzard, though, eaten by Marth. Oh, my goodness. A wall out from Rocket, going to be keeping the rest of his team alive for just a little bit longer. Axiom, though, finds the Blizzard of his own. And Shiro and My Big Marth shredding through the only 5 members here of Eclipse. Cryptic Force forced back. He'll almost certainly be going down after this one.
Yeah, they did end up using a lot of ultimates in that fight. Cryptic did go down pretty early here. I'm going to throw it back to you real quick. I'm going to try to get Bubbers back in this game quickly.
The lobby's locked up as lobby settings are changed. Can we get a little bit of a pause here as yeah, trying to get Bubbers back into this game. I feel so bad though if you're Eclipse going down a man and then it's sheer panic when you can't invite him back in.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. What happens a lot with these lobbies, I don't know. Blizzard needs to really look into custom. I think there's so many little like errors that goes on. Here, I'm going to try something here real quick. Maybe Deska something they want to talk about here pretty quickly.
Yeah, you know, obviously an unfortunate nightmare to kind of happen there for Eclipse. But trying to work out the little difficulties here. You know, very interesting. The first attack on the first point here for the side of Eclipse, really brawling in and being able to get the picks out they needed to. But Commit really stabilizing there. Questionable usage towards the end of the first point, kind of allowing for a little bit of progress to be taken when they could have held it a little bit up closer a little bit. But you know, it is what it is at this point. Light Rose, what are your thoughts so far?
I think they have to really get off this comp. I don't know if that's going through a mirror or something, but you got the surprise off in the first place, and now it's the effects really wore off. You have a Shatter, but really not much else. And on the side of Commit, you've got a Transcendence, a Window, a Gravitic Flux, a Bongo, and Dragons. You've got 5 ults, while on the side of Eclipse, you just have 1, and that's gonna be really hard. You do still have about 3 minutes left, but it's just kind of working through this.
Yeah, obviously we saw from Marth there again, another big eat on the Mayult. Is there anything that Shoney Red can really do to position these a little bit better to avoid that happening in the future?
It's kind of hard. I think Shoney Red, they've managed to kind of counter his playstyle at this point. You still can get those big walls, but it's going to be really hard to get the big walls like we had earlier in the match. But it seems like we possibly finally got in, and we'll head it off to you, casters.
All right, we finally got Bubbers back in this lobby. Some real unfortunate little lobby glitches and stuff. They're not allowing him to get back into the game. But stabilized here at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Eclipse all of a sudden not quite in the position that they were before, but what do they need to do to get through this choke point?
I do like the switches. It looks actually Bubbers going back over to the Brigida. They're going to try to stick with this. They're off the Symmetra now, over on maybe trying to get a lot of burst damage.
They look for the aggression. Cryptic Force going for the shot, not finding anybody. Instead of Shiro with the Dragon finding 2 members of Eclipse here and ending this one early yet again. The cart not making much progress at all.
No, it's really hard to push through this point here, especially with double tank ult, double support ult. If they're able to push back before Koro can rejoin Commit, that'd be pretty big. You see them still holding pretty up. They're not really falling back yet. They might, based off of Shiro trying to get the picks here. Now Rocket going back over to the Symmetra, but Shoney Red gets so low early on. A lot of those picks early on. Oh, and Bubbers going down. That's gonna stop this push right at the beginning.
Yet again, that Brig shield's basically a paper plate at this point. My Big Marth looking for something. He will be picking up 2 members here of Eclipse. The fight not over yet here. Sir Andy picks off Rocket, and with certainly spells doom here for Eclipse. They're through the choke. If they can hold on to this foothold a little bit longer, they do have a Symmetra teleporter to get their spawns in a little bit faster. They're able to back up. and they will get a reset in here as 9Volt speeds them out.
Yeah, good job there on the side of Commit. They didn't really have to invest too much. Big Marth threw in his ult, and now they're going to have all the other 5 ultimates up and ready for them. Oh, big wall there too from
Axiom's May wall cutting off half the members of Eclipse here. Barely managing to get through the choke point, but nobody going down here for the red side. The amplification matrix will be used from Commit, and Shiro taking out 2 members here. 2 headshots, make it 3, make it 4. Shiro coming up huge here in this choke point.
Dude, Marth has eaten 3 blizzards tonight. Ate the second one here on this defense. That is just crazy. That's like out of Divas, it was impressive, but it's even so. It's Sigma, and great job from them there, taking out a lot of what they really needed over on the side of Eclipse. But he already has the blizzard vacuum from Shoney Red. Got to throw that without Big Marth around because he's just going to eat it right up.
Pushing in, this is a true test. A full composition swap coming in from Eclipse. They make it through the choke point. The Coalescence will be committed early, getting around this corner, but Shiro picks off Rocket with that Storm Arrow. Blizzard coming in from both sides. Which one will be more effective? The Dragon committed, though, from Shiro on top of it. Axiom, though, finding the headshots on his own. Ice Cold taking out Bray. And Shiro finding one more onto Shoney Red. Another fight win for Commit in 13 seconds, ticking down. Eclipse want more than this. This isn't the way you want it to go. 6 months of work on the line, and it ends here on the second point.
Yeah, that's going to be really hard for them to really full hold commit to anything less than this. 51 meters, that's basically just pushing it through this little choke here. That's really one fight that Eclipse can lose and regroup early on first point. So a lot ahead of them here. Maybe time to try Bastion strats. Again, it's so hard, especially teams like Commit. They know what to do against these Bastion strats. You might hold them for a few minutes, but you won't be able to full hold them on maps with strats like that. So maybe like what they did on Hollywood, just trying to run something pretty meta, just run a better meta comp. But I don't know if they have it in them to run the better meta here.
I think one of the biggest things we've noticed tonight has actually been the support line from Commit has made a huge difference. When Raid Body and Honey Badger are in, granted they're doing an all right job, but I know it was on the control maps that Eclipse looked a lot stronger on, but it really feels like Ice and Koro are doing a much better job here of supporting and just staying alive in general for Commit, and it's shown. They get right back into the game, and it looks like Commit are ready. They're lined up to pick up another win and close the series out.
Yeah, Ice showing why Ice is the MVP here in our Discord tier. Even if it's not things we're seeing as casters, I'm sure there's so much in-game going on. Being the team GM and the team captain for the team means a lot to him, and I'm sure a lot of the in-game calls and just positivity that they need can help push him through a lot of these points. So we do see Rocket over on the Torb. Hey, that's something we don't see every day. And 9Volt on the on. Man, this feels like back in gold, like comp games from like years ago.
Yeah, I respect it, dude. Rocket's gonna pop. He even shows it to the high ground. He's peeking that top when they know they have a Torbjorn now.
I like that. It's more of a mind game kind of thing, right? You're just like, we're so confident, I'm gonna be running the Torb.
Maybe it's just comfort picks here. As 9Volt's on the Ana as well. It's a lot of healing coming out here, and the Torb's gonna have a decent opportunity to put in some damage. Of course, that E offers up a lot of damage through that shotgun. The damage coming in, the vulnerability is used from both sides. Ice takes out the turret that did belong to Rocket for just a little while, but Bray getting so much damage dealt onto him. The shield barely keeps him alive, but the first bit going to Sir Andy, taking Shoney Red out of the equation. Cryptic Force dishing as much damage as he can, but Bray, the first tank to go down, and the kills rolling the way of Commit, pushing through this choke and dishing it out. Commit look to roll through King's Row.
Well, hopefully all of Eclipse can spawn near spawn here. Looks like they're all going to be able to, which is good. So they are able to take another clean fight here, but they're going to have to hold this for like, what, 5 minutes and 43 seconds. That is a big task ahead of them with no ultimates really coming online for him either. Commit's going to take a lot of positional advantage here, and they have a lot of time to push through.
Rocket staying on the Swede, sticking to this corner. This Tornado Cryptic Force finds one onto Shiro. He accretion to the dome. Getting set up now. Will be Eclipse gets their own chance to hold this choke point for as long as they can.
I do like them pushing forward here. It's going to give Shoney a little bit more of space compared to what you see over on the side of Commit. Shiro's got to try to either get a pick back through main or take someone down on the high ground, and Ice doing the job for him.
Rocket finding one on the Tornado, and they're pushing out aggressively. Might Mark picking up 3 members here. Could be denying a lot of that damage. Cryptic Force having a fantastic kinetic grasp there. Going to be denying a lot of the kills that could have happened there. And holding an even more aggressive position. Eclipse aren't done here.
No, they're not. It's very aggressive for them. I'd maybe like them to hold a little bit further back, but they are able to get the pick on Shiro there as well. And look, Commit's just kind of walking out 1v1 here out of spawn. They need to group up a little bit because there's so much poke here over on the side of Eclipse.
Eclipse making a real statement in this game, whether or not they win. The Torbjorn in the close hold, if they back up, they need to do it. They need to do it now. The Bongo will be committed here. From Commit, it's not over. Shiro gets the best of Shoni Red, though, taking him right out of the window with a 5v6. Comes to Force, looks for a big Gravitic Flux, picks up 4 members, but it doesn't matter because Shiro in ice going to be doing it on their own as the card approaches the end of the map. This is almost certainly going to be the end of the season here. Commit, this is it. The end of 6 months, and this is the best that Tranquility has to offer. Commit end it 4-1, and this is your Discord tier champions. Commit, ending the season undefeated. What a match from them.
Yeah, fantastic job. Congrats to Commit. They played a great game, but I will say over on the side of Eclipse, also fantastic job. Amazing playoff run here through these years. And that's the first time I've really seen Commit struggle at all this season on a few of these maps. So great job for them. Really excited though for Commit going undefeated through the season, and just congrats again over on the side of Commit.
We've seen some absolutely incredible, some riveting play tonight, but we'll throw it over to our desk one last time to break down that King's Row for us.
Yeah, you know, an absolutely incredible hold there from the side of Commit. Even, you know, with that unfortunate situation happening, the picks that came out from Shiro on the Hanzo were just incredible. You know, nothing you can really do to stop that. As great as a defense as Eclipse put up, it just unfortunately wasn't enough here.
I think in the end it just comes down to Commit is just good. Commit deserved to win the Discord tier. They put in the time, they have the teamwork, and any team that really came up against them was going to have a really hard time. And we did see Commit struggle, like you said. We saw the flaws that Eclipse won 2 maps. I think was who was it? Harmony and Chaos last that really got close to beating Commit, but it's crazy that we've come this far and Commit finally takes the W.
All right, and a fantastic night of games. Congratulations again to Commit, our champions here, Discord tier, the best that Tranquility has to offer overall, but the season's not quite over. We do have the All-Star game coming up on Sunday. Booth, anything you want to add to that?
Just be tuning in. I think there's a lot of really good like Flex Tanks players in there or something. I don't know. You can check the rosters, but yeah. Again, congrats to Commit, our season champions here in the Discord tier. I think showing us how fun of a game this can really be. That was a really fun game to cast there. Looking forward to what we can see out of teams coming into season 4 here too now.
All right. Closing it up. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Commit, congratulations for the 3rd time to your champions. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in all season. It's been a fantastic one. Thanks again to the Twitch team. Tonight we've had me, Door, at Door_OW on Twitter. We've had Booth. We've had Light Rose and Specs. You guys have any closing notes?
Not really.
Yeah, congrats to Commit.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And we can't wait to bring some more fantastic games to you for Season 4. Some exciting stuff coming up. But don't miss the All-Star game on Sunday. We'll be seeing you then.